Okay, so I just wanted to give you an idea of how you might deal with merging tables with for your project. So in the last class, we were talking about predicting crime in U.S. cities. We were going through that project, and so I'm just going to give you an example from maybe from something like that. So they said that it turned out that the interesting factors that seemed to have something to do with U.S. crime were the number of Walmart stores and things about Walmart stores maybe, and fast food restaurants, the number of fast food restaurants, and also, of course, various other aspects of the cities. For example, size in kilometers. This is population size, number of police stations, number of hospitals, maybe. Okay, so what they're trying to do is build up a model to predict how much crime there is going to be in a particular city, and they want to set up a data set to build this model. So the question is, so if we just had this data, then this is easy to use in Weka, right? We just load this in and we build a model to predict this variable. So that's easy. But the question is, suppose we want to use this data as well. So how do we use this data? How do we put it into this table so that it makes sense? Or so that we can actually, yeah, how do we just use this data? So I'm going to suggest one way, which is a very simple way. There may be better ways than this, but this is one way. But the question is, how do we make use of these? So I'd like you to think about it. How do we make use of this? How do we put this into this table? So remember what this table is supposed to be. This is Boston. So this is supposed to be data about Boston. Okay? So in general, you have to decide what your, each one of these variables is data about something, right? In this case, it's data about a city, right? In other cases, it might be data about a movie, or it might be data about a stock. So whatever it is, whatever the records are, these variables all have to be aspects of that particular uh, of that of what that is. So if it's cities, these have to be aspects of cities. If it's movies, these have to be aspects of movies. If it's stocks, these have to be aspects of stocks. So you can't have, aspects of something else over here that aren't about cities in this case. It doesn't make sense. These all have to be aspects of cities. So crime is an aspect of the city. Population size is an aspect of the city. Number of police stations is an aspect or a function of the cities, and so on. So, okay, now, suppose I want to add in this data. Now, what is this data? This is about Walmart. For example, I can see that in Boston, the number of visitors per year is this. The number, of course, these numbers don't make any sense, but number of current time in current location, number of employees, size of store, and so on. How can I include that? Maybe this is useful in predicting crime. Maybe it's not. Maybe it has nothing to do with crime. But suppose it was for some reason useful. How can I put it into here? I have to make it about Boston. I have to make it about New York. How do I do that? What variable do I have to add here to include some of this, or at least one of these? So suppose I just wanted to include whether there is a Walmart in there. Then I could create a Walmart, maybe I'll call it Walmart 01 variable, and that would just be a yes, no, and whether there's a Walmart in there or not. And then I could have yet another variable, which could be like Walmart number of employees or something like that. So I could get this number for Boston would be 20. And then I could have Walmart current location, time in current location, I guess, anyway. That could be like 1. And then I could have Walmart number of visitors. Walmart num visitors or something like that. So anyway, you have to think about this to see what makes sense. So this might make sense. So anyway, 5. Okay. Now, though, on the other hand, suppose that there was no Walmart in Miami. There was no Walmart, so it didn't have any of these variables. So how would we fill in for Miami down here? How would we fill this in? So this was yes before. And did I fill that in? Yeah. Okay, and that was that. Okay, now for Miami though, what should I do? Well, Miami is the last row. So over here. So that would be 0 for that variable. See, we just made up that variable. So and now it takes the value 0. And I guess since number of employees, I guess this would be 0. I mean, if there's no store, I guess there's no employees. And this would be 0. And this would be 0. So, but putting these numbers in is a kind of choice that you're making. Like, if they're time in current location, I guess it's 0. But maybe it doesn't make sense to say that it's 0. But anyway, maybe we do that. So anyway, that's how we would create maybe some new variables for this. And then we could do the same kind of thing for fast food restaurants. So, but we'd have to, okay, so how would we do that? So we might have to go through this entire list, and for every one of these, there may be a better way to do this, but for every one of these, create a new variable, and for each of those, talk about Starbucks number of visitors as a variable, Starbucks sales as another variable, Starbucks Boston as another variable. But look, for example, New York doesn't have any Starbucks, so then you have to code that accordingly over here when you're filling in the table. Okay, so that's one way to do that. There might be a better way, but that would be one way. But that would mean that I'd have to, even if there are just what, Starbucks 1, 2, 3, 4 stores here, that would mean 4 variables here at least as 0, 1 variables, and then Starbucks number of visitors, that would be another variable. Mac number of visitors, that would be another variable. Guster number of visitors, that would be another. Mr. Donuts number of visitors, that would be another. Then Starbucks sales, that would be another. Starbucks this would be another. So anyway, we're creating a lot of new variables. And then maybe only a few of those are important, and there are some ways to figure out whether they're important or not. But for now, since we didn't have that much time in the class to do that, we're not going to do it. I'll just tell you that in Weka, there's something called if you look at Weka, there's a tab here called Select Attributes, which will take from many attributes, try to find the strongest ones. Now, and there are a number of different algorithms for doing that, for finding the strongest ones. They'll give you different results. So if you want to try that, you can try and figure out how to use that tab.